Do you think there's a gender war?
What percentage of men are good and what percentage are trash?
10% are good.
Yeah.
90 of them are trash.
Yeah.
Have you ever seen a woman try and do anything competent?
We need to kill all men.
And that is, why are all women so stupid?
A country that has one of the highest number of reported rapes in the world.
She gave birth and she decided to kill her 3-year-old child.
For some 40 years, hundreds, perhaps thousands of young women have been drugged, raped, and beaten across dozens of UK cities by men belonging to so-called grooming gangs.
There's a lot of reasons why men are outright refusing to help women. One, I think some men have disdain for modernity. That we're in this era of toxic, masculinity is toxic. Women can do whatever they want and, without consequence. That's how they feel. I'm not saying it's true. And so you'll get a guy who's probably watching him and be like, screw him, I don't care. Not my problem.
Because I'll be honest, there is. Even if you're not admitting it, there's a lot of conflict between men and women in our society today and growing globally. And there's a whole lot of different responses. There's people that are responding by eliminating gender altogether. People are responding by completely blurring those lines and making it whatever they want to believe. Some people react very strongly against previous ideas of what they were because they know this is a changing world and they want to adapt to that, and they don't know how to be in a gender role from ages past. And all this confusion and all of this gender battle on who's better, battle for dominance, things like that, equal, unequal in society between men and women, where women have these privileges, men don't have these, maybe men still have these and women don't have these. And a lot of people just want to throw their hands up and say, I can't do anything about it, it's not my business anymore. But the clear fact of the matter is that biologically and psychologically, in every aspect, men and women have differences. Now, the difference in the genome, perhaps, in the biological makeup, even psychological makeup of different races is very minuscule, almost non-existent. Whereas if with men and women, it's pretty pronounced. Biologically, psychologically, men think differently than women, and men act differently than women. Now, granted, everything is on a bell curve, so it's not like you can't have crossovers between them. If you take 100 men and 100 women and put them in a room, there will invariably be women who are going to be stronger than some section of the men. A small section of women will cross over the men. And then, of course, more men that will be better socially than some of the women. Whereas if on the bell curve, though, when we put it all together, the average point for each of them is pretty distinct, as well as the top 10% for each and the bottom 10% for each. So what does that tell us? Well, it tells us that gender roles, based off biology, had a purpose in ancient history in order to help efficiently organize society. But obviously, there's a lot of people that don't like those gender roles, the way that either they perceive them or the way that they were, and they want those to be brought up for questioning and to change those. But because there's clear differences, we're locked into this never-ending battle of understanding each other, coming to terms with each other, how do we work together? And it just seems like in all of that, there's a lot of casualties. And I mean, there are a lot of casualties. There are people checking out of society. There are a growing number of young men that are extremely disaffected, that are giving up entirely on knowing and dating women or even participating in society. They've just checked out. America has finally caught on to the otaku movement of Japan, where men are no longer wanting to be a part of society anymore, be responsible. And women too are checking out of relationships at an increasing rate, choosing to settle on non-romantic relationships or to just abandon the idea of roles altogether. And so where do we end up from here? Where do we go from here? What's the correct answer? How do we put this all together? Well, for one, I don't know 100% where it is. I've done a lot of study in gender roles and things like that. But at the same time, I'm more interested in just stopping the gender war and helping us process that. I'm not here to tell you specifically men are this, women are this, and you should do this, and you should do that. That's not my goal. But I am starting a project and finishing a project, actually, with the intent to help people synthesize the gender conflict, and maybe in that synthesis find healing. I hope that if you're one of those people that would be interested in that, or you know somebody who needs that you'd stay tuned for some more updates, because I would love for you to be able to look into what I'm doing. I'll just put it out there. Like any of you know, I'm a creative person, And I think it's boring. As much as I got a master's degree and I could just sit here and pepper you with research and facts and all this stuff and do this very news reporter style, that's just not really me. My journalism days are kind of scant. I am definitely a creative guy, and it's definitely going to look different and a lot more entertaining and a lot more palatable than watching, studies over and over and over again. So I hope that you keep informed and that you're watching what's going on. Updates on my channel. I'm going to be launching that. But as for now, we could get the discussion going. If you want to add a comment, if you want to start putting that in here and see what others have to say, that wouldn't be a bad start. Thank you so much. I'll be looking forward to giving more updates for you.